Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I have something super exciting for us today. I am going to be reviewing the brand new Lifetime Tundra Kayak. This is an unreleased model that they reached out and sent to me with this awesome hat and even a dry bag that I have in the storage, which I'll show you in a second, and asked me to review it for them. And so that is exactly what I am going to do. Now, my initial impression of this kayak is this just isn't a boat that I would buy at this point in my fishing career. I know what I want, I know how I like to fish, and this just isn't a boat that if I were to be looking into kayaking now, that I would buy. But if I were a beginner kayak fisher, if I were just looking for something to kind of get, you know, no pun intended, but to kind of get my feet wet, this would be a kayak that I would seriously consider. I do like the sit inside design. I do like that I have plenty of leg room. I'll show you that in a little bit. And I like that while it is basic, I mean, it's just a great platform to start out in, to figure out, do I like kayak fishing? Maybe I just like paddling, being in a boat, on the water, that kind of thing. Let's go over some of the features of the boat. So this seat is just a drop-in seat. As you can see, I've got it connected to the bungee cords back here, but the seat does come out for transport. It's a really nice, good, rigid seat. I spent some time in it just sitting in my driveway, and it's very, very comfortable, very solid. I do feel like I could sit in it all day. Literally, it just folds up and it unconnects from back here, and you can put it in your car to travel with or to store or whatever. If I'm gonna lift it up just a little bit for you, as you can see, it's got nice leg rests here that are bolted in. They're not pasted on or glued on or anything like that. They're actually bolted down so that they won't peel up easy. And of course, they're neoprene, so they'll be a little bit waterproof, water resistant, and they won't rub as much when you're paddling down the lake. Right here, we've got a bungee strap for your cell phone. I know a lot of kayaks like this do that. Like if you've ever seen a Pelican model or something like that, they put a bungee strap right here. That's for your cell phone or maybe something else, you know, like your GPS or something. I'm not a huge fan of that because most of those things come in a black color, and if you have an iPhone, you know that they overheat pretty easily. So I'm not going to be using this for my phone, but if you want to use it for something else, it is a nice addition to have. If you've got like a small water bottle and you just want to clip it right there, it would be perfect for that. Up front, as you can see, we've got our little storage compartment right here, and it's bungeed in. These bungees come off super easy, and this whole panel opens up just like that. And as you can see, you've got some dry storage. This is also removable, and it's also where I'm keeping my dry bag right now until I put stuff in it. But it's a great little front hatch. As you can see, another thing that I'm not a huge fan of is this is like a pack light boat. As you can see, this isn't very deep. There's not a lot of storage here. And I mean, while this container is pretty deep, it's not very big, so you can't put a ton in it there. And also the back well isn't very deep either. That's probably, you know, 8 inches maybe deep right there. So you're gonna be packing light when you have this thing. There are a few small spaces around the seat, which I'll show you in a little bit closer view in just a second, that you can put tackle or some other things like that in. But this is for just a few hours float. I would think maybe 3 to 4 hours, which is what we're going to do today. And you know, it's just a pack light width. Like, you've got very small storage up front, you got very little storage in the back. Carry a few extra things with you. You're not going to want to carry a giant cooler in this thing. You're not going to want to put, you know, a ton of stuff up front. This would be just for your necessities. You know, you can throw your wallet or your keys and all that kind of stuff in your dry bag and throw it in there and keep it nice and safe and watertight, because this hatch actually does seal really well. It's got a nice seal on it. As you can see, you just take the cord and re-bungee it like that. So that hatch is nice and secure, but this isn't a let's go spend all day fishing and exploring in this boat. This is like, you know, let's just float for a little bit, let's get out on the water, let's enjoy our day like today and have some fun. My favorite feature of this kayak though is it has a wheel in the keel. I'll show you a close-up of that as well, but it does have a wheel in the keel. Now this isn't a heavy kayak. My other kayak that you see me in all my other videos, that's 100 pounds. This kayak, however, comes in just right around 60 pounds. So it's not very heavy. Very easy to car top, very easy to load by yourself. You don't have to have a lot of help. And even if you have to park up the ramp a little ways or, you know, drag it down a path or something, it has that wheel in the keel, which I think is a phrase coined by Feel Free, but it's got a wheel in the keel of the boat so that you can drag it and it rolls right with you. I was rolling it through the yard. We just had a ton of rain and it comes through mud and things like that really, really well. I wouldn't take it through super deep mud or super awful terrain, but as far as doing gravel roads or gravel trails or even like concrete trails with cracks, like, it'll handle that no problem. This kayak also comes with its own paddle. This is an aluminum paddle. I measured it out. I think this is around 240 centimeters. I think the one that I have is 260 centimeters. So they sent me a paddle for about my size, but I think this is the standard paddle that comes with it. Again, it's made of aluminum. So over time it will get a little heavy if you decide to do a longer paddle, but having a kayak that comes with its own paddle is a great addition for any boat. Last thing, right up here at the front, and I also like that it's in the front and not in the back, is your drain plug, okay? You just pop this up like this, turn it to the side, tilt it over, and any water that you have in here will drain out. And I will say that's gonna be very, very important. This is a sit-in side, okay? So if you go down a river and you take on any sort of rapids that are like, you know, moderate to major, and you get water in this boat, there are only 4 scupper holes. You've got 2 here and then you've got 2 under the seat. So water's not going to drain out very easily. I definitely wouldn't put scupper plugs in these scupper holes, because if you get any kind of water in this boat, you're gonna want it to drain out just immediately as much as you can, okay? So I'm not a huge fan of that. I think there should be a couple more scupper plug holes or scupper holes in the front. I think that would make it better for water draining in and out of it. But overall, it is a solid kayak. It looks really, really nice. I think this is around their 10.5-foot version, and it, you know, supports 275 pounds. I weigh around 230. So again, it's a pack light boat. We're gonna be packing light today. But supports 275 pounds, so it's for a smaller person. You bigger guys may want to stay away from something like this, but you know, if you are just wanting to get out on the water and experience something because you've never kayaked before, I will say this is a great boat. It is quality made, it is not junk, and while it has very limited features, it's perfect for somebody who doesn't really know what they want out of a boat yet. It's definitely perfect for someone who's like, I kind of just like to fish a little bit, but I'd much rather just be able to get out on the water, float down the river, see the scenery. This boat is perfect for you. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna load it up, we're gonna roll it down the boat ramp, and we're gonna get out on the water. We're gonna see if we can catch some fish, but I'm gonna see mainly how it handles and how much fun you can have in this thing. So let's go. Alright, so just a couple of things I want to mention. It tracks really, really well. I mean, it's a shorter boat. Shorter boats typically track pretty well when they're going through the water, but it's handling this wake like it's nothing. I don't have any water in the boat right now, so even without the scupper holes at the front, I think where they are actually good. And again, the seat is elevated. It's sitting up on like risers that are molded into the boat. And so even if water does come in, you're not going to be sitting in it, which is, if you get into any kind of beginner fishing kayak, specifically a sit on top, you know, most cheaper model, sub $1,000, sub $300 boats, you're going to be sitting in a flimsy neoprene seat on the actual plastic deck of the boat. And with this one, you're not. You're raised up off of the hull of the boat, so even if any water does get in here, you're not sitting in it all day. And because of the way you're seated, I think that the water will flow really nice out of the back of the boat. And to my delight, surprise, I was able to get all of my normal fishing gear in here. If you're a more serious angler, you're carrying like 6, 7 rods, you got a ton of tackle, that's not gonna happen. But for what I like to do, I can fit everything I want in here and, you know, fish for a few hours if I want to, or even go lighter. Well, so after spending a few hours in this boat, I can tell you that it's a great little boat. It has exceeded my expectations by a long shot. First of all, there's no water in this boat. I know I said at the beginning that I think not having the scupper holes in the front will, you know, be a detriment or be a bad thing, but they're not. Like, the inside of this boat is completely dry. The inside of the hull and everything is completely dry. So if you wanted to bring a small cooler to stow up underneath that small front hatch, you could absolutely do it. Second thing, a little bit of a complaint. When I paddle with this paddle, because of the rod angles being out to the side, I kind of clip my rods every now and then when I'm paddling. So, you know, if it were me and I was putting this kayak together, I would angle the rod holders so that they were facing straight backwards at an angle. That way you're not catching them with your paddle as you're going along. But it paddles super well, very, very smooth, very light on the water, super nimble kayak. I was able to do some fishing out of it, which was really, really great. I was even able to catch a small little brim, or perch, or whatever you call them where you're from. Bluegill is what we call them down here. I was able to get this thing into some really, really tight spaces and do some fishing and scouting back there. And man, I just had a ball. I paddled probably 2.5 miles today in just a few hours. It would have been more if I was straight paddling, but I was fishing. And yeah, had a great time in this boat. So if you are looking to get into kayaking at all, just something you can get on the river with, or something you can paddle around a lake with. The lake I'm on right now is a couple 100 acres, so it's not a massive lake, but even if you wanted to take it on a massive lake, I don't think you'd have any problems. You know, we paddled through some really harsh winds, we paddled through some big boat wakes, and this kayak took all of it like a champ. So, you know, if you're looking to get into kayaking and paddle around your lake, or, you know, just figure out what kayak fishing is all about, you know, pack you some light tackle and a couple of spinning rods, or, you know, whatever, I would highly recommend this boat. Lifetime did a great job. And if you wanted to add some extra accessories, you could definitely do that. It's a good platform for it. For those of you out there watching this that are experienced guys, this probably isn't the boat for you. You're going to want to look for, you know, something with a more open deck, you know, sit on top kayak, something that has railings and things like that. But if you just want to go out and have a good time on the water, do a little bit of fishing, I'd recommend this boat, especially if you're a beginner. So last thing I have to say is, Lifetime, thank you so much for sending this to me. Thank you for the hat, thank you for the dry bag, the stickers, and the amazing note. I could not thank you guys more. This is just awesome to me. I enjoyed my time in this boat, and we'll definitely get some good mileage out of it in the future. So thank you, Lifetime, and thank you guys for watching. I highly recommend checking this boat out.